Welcome to the Underground.
Turn me up, bitch!
My Little Underground with Peter A.
It's My Little Underground. I'm Peter A. Make sure you're subscribed anywhere you get podcasts and follow me on socials at MLU Pod. You can also support My Little Underground for as little as $1 a month. Link is in the description and also at peteraradio.com. Today on the show, we have Nana Adjoa back after 2 years to talk about her debut full-length album, Big Dreaming Ants. We talked about nationalism in a globalized world, social media rants, recording in her own studio space, her favorite vinyl records, and so much more with Nana Adjoa on My Little Underground. I'm so glad you're back on My Little Underground, and this time you have a full-length album to share with us, Big Dreaming Ants.
Yes.
And love this album. It's absolutely great. It's a great album to listen to on the train here in New York City, and one song that stuck out to me upon first listen was the national song. You kind of have this idea of love of country. What do you think about that now with our globalized world that we're living in? You know, you talked about like our borders are kind of loose. People are just going in and out of different countries, and you know, where does that leave nationalistic ideas to you?
Yeah, well, exactly. That's the song. Writing this song was me, trying to figure that out. What does it mean to belong to one nation in a time where a lot of our information, goes beyond borders, and a lot of our identities are, also mixed because I'm from I come myself from mixed backgrounds, and especially with the national song, which is this really old tradition, about a nation's identity. I was just at one point I heard the Dutch national song, and it felt so strange to me, and I know we all learned it at one point at school, but it's kind of like a translation from Old Dutch, so some of the words don't make sense anymore at this time. Then I just dug up some old other national anthems and songs where there's already a lot of history about identity crisis in countries, or some countries don't even have like lyrics to their national song because of these crises. I think nowadays it's everybody's really looking to to feel connected still, but we are a little bit more a little bit more lost, I feel, when you look at people and they're really trying to sell, like what you said, like their opinions, to just feel a little bit more confidence in who they are and where they come from, but they're actually a bit lost because we're just mixing up the whole thing, and there are no real borders anymore. So that's just for me a natural process, but I guess that leaves a lot of people kind of lost, and that translates into sometimes anger even.
Yeah, and I think when this song came out, it's kind of on brand with what's been happening here in the States. You know, here in the United States, your opinion of what the national anthem is almost became a political statement. Is it the same way in the Netherlands?
I think it isn't. I wasn't trying to make a political statement, but I did notice,
Of
like,
course.
especially I wrote the song, I think 2 years ago, or some time ago, and now when everything is even more polarized, everything feels like a statement.
It does, yeah, that's true.
But it's more about, like, finding out what does it mean to be to belong to a nation. It's more a question that I'm asking myself, and I feel like it's different now, like in this time and day, than before, where we are more aware of the whole world around us, and where that can mean you can be more aware in how we are all connected, but it can also mean for some people to just see how different we are. But it's kind of it lies where it's personal where you lie that emphasis. But for me, it's just interesting to think about nationality through a national song, which is this old tradition, which kind of doesn't really fit into our time now. That's, I think, what I was going for most, like really looking back at this historical thing, the Dutch national song is also like one of the oldest ones. And yeah, we still use it, but we've changed so much, and yeah, it was kind of like yeah, a way for me to dig into that.
When I hear throwing stones and you're talking about, it's almost like social media tirades, maintaining a moral high ground
Hmm.
while, letting off, how you feel
Hmm.
about any given thing. So I notice you on social media, you're not like, you talk about, your music and little things here and there, but you don't
Hmm.
go off on any kind of rants, which a lot of, with a few other artists and a few other people do
Hmm.
typically on social media. So when you're going through your timeline and you're seeing
Hmm.
what people follow you or your followers are doing,
Hmm.
does it ever occur to you, maybe I should say more about certain things? Do you ever feel like you have a rant in you that you should or shouldn't say on social media?
Yeah, well, I guess like yeah, that's the question. I'm still trying to answer that question as well. Like I feel, of course, so you can share your opinions about stuff online, but I feel like the online life or just yeah has kind of created this space where we can let go of certain morals, or we just we're not so strict with each other with what's how do you talk to each other. It's more, it's like this free space where it doesn't matter how ugly you get, people yeah, it feels like there are no limits anymore in how you communicate with people. And I think for me it's really hard to yeah to voice your opinion in such a space where yeah, there are no limits in how ugly stuff can get. So I think I prefer to have a real conversation with somebody. I mean, you can still have a real conversation online, but when you're sitting in the actual same space, yeah, you really feel the other person's anger or disappointment in real life, and so you kind of deal with that, and you're really dealing with the other person. Whereas when you're just ranting online, it's just your own anger accumulating, and also you get angry because of other people, and it's like this. It's not a real, it's yeah, there are no limits also to your own emotions. So I think for me it's hard to yeah to put out a rant, because I feel it's just it doesn't, yeah, it doesn't matter anything when I just put it online. I feel like when you're in a real conversation with somebody, you can really say something and you can really feel, yeah, even if it hurts you or the other person, and you can really adjust to that, and then you know what you're talking about and how emotional things can get. And online it feels like just this endless void where you can just throw in everything, and it doesn't really matter anymore. So for me, maybe I'm a bit silent in that way on social media, but it's mostly because I don't know how to navigate that strange world.
Yeah, I'm with you
Yeah.
on that,
Mm.
because the idea of this endless void, because you can
Mhm.
get caught up in people's hot takes
Mhm.
for days,
Mhm. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's good for some people that want to bolster their social media accounts. That
Mhm.
engagement
Mhm.
kind of helps. The more people in your mentions, the
Mhm.
better it is for your profile. So,
Mhm.
do you ever feel pressure to quote unquote speak up about anything during any kind of socio-political unrest? Or do you find it hard to promote your album during the difficult times we're living in?
Um, well, yeah, it's kind of tricky sometimes, because sometimes there are overlaps within the songs, obviously, and what's happening in the world. So of course you have to deal with that, with that, and voice your opinion about that. But still, I do believe, for me personally, I think it's different for everybody. For me personally, it's better to, yeah, work through these things outside of social media, and also outside of promotional tools, and voice your opinion in conversations with people, or in going to a protest, or it being something in the real world rather than being online. But maybe it's also because I still have to learn how to do that properly, because there are some folks out there who do a great job of inspiring people in a positive way and dealing with a lot of these things. But yeah, for me that's still hard to do that online. And but to promote this record is, yeah, kind of helped me also in that way, because I have to deal with it, and it's helping me to realize how people also respond to this songs in these times. And yeah, it's actually been quite a learning curve for myself releasing this record.
Yeah, and I like it or not, I think your music, you're saying something, but I don't know if you intend to say something. But there's like, when I listen to your music, it's like it's open for interpretation what you're saying, even if
Hmm.
that's not exactly what you tried to get across. So
Hmm.
with your album title and artwork, Big Dreaming
Hmm.
Ants, the artwork has it looks like a giant apartment building, but everybody inside is so
Hmm.
small and there's a lot of
Hmm.
different people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you trying to say that your people are finding their place in this small world, but have big ambitions, but whatever they're trying to do,
Hmm.
that scene is very crowded? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I guess, yeah. It for me, it really it means like all these people. You say small world, but they're all together in this really big world, But all their own small scenes fit into this bigger picture, which is like this in the album cover. It's like the building, but you can zoom out even more, and then it's in a city, or then it's on the globe. But it's about, yeah, people having these really big dreams, myself included. It started with myself thinking about myself in this crazy world, having these big dreams and feeling really small. But also, when you zoom out, feeling that you're part of something, although you don't really understand it, and also that other people also have these crazy big dreams, and they're not aware in how much they're connected, but there is a connection, for me. So it was, yeah, for me, it was this zooming out effect, that you feel like, okay, I'm part of this bigger whole, and we're all dreaming and working towards something, we don't know what, but it is happening. And yeah, so it's kind of feeling small, but also feeling connected to all these other people feeling the same way. Yeah, that's kind of how you put it. Yeah.
Can you also relate that to music? Because there's so much music out there,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of different ways to find music. Bandcamp, Spotify, etc.
Hmm.
Artists are now trying to get on playlists as opposed to getting on radio stations. Like, do
Yeah.
you feel like you're a small fish in a very, very massive pond, and how do you kind of stick
Yeah,
out?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I do feel like that. And that was also when I was writing this record. Yeah, I was just, I visited the States in 2018, the end of 2018. And that for me was like opening a new door, to this big world, musical world that you only, dreamed of. And I was more, yeah, I'm from the Netherlands, so I know kind of the Netherlands scene and a bit more of Europe. But opening this new door and feeling really like a small fish in this crazy ocean. Um, yeah, that makes you feel small, but it's also, inspiring to see this new world and learning about new artists. And yeah, and also kind of like learning from the artist that everybody has the same feeling, like, what are we doing? There's so much people out there, but you really have to believe in yourself, but everybody's doing that. So it's kind of, double feeling. But yeah, so musically, that's kind of, yeah, it's kind of parallel to how I feel as a human being. Yeah.
Tell me about your own studio.
Yeah, I've got this nice studio I share with two friends. It's in Amsterdam, where I live as well, and it's in a basement. It's kind of a do-it-yourself kind of studio. It's not like a proper studio with a
Oh,
big
come on, a
panel and
do-it-yourself
everything.
studio is a proper studio.
Okay,
Come
yeah, it is,
on.
yeah, but it's a nice place, because it's kind of a rehearsal place, rehearsal space slash studio. So there's a lot of gear in there, from my band, but also from other bands that rehearse there. And yeah, we've got a nice setup. And for me, at the time when I was recording this album there, and writing and recording at the same time, I was living like 10 minutes bike ride from the studio, so I was there a lot. Also, like in the middle of the night, I could just bike, yeah, home to the studio, and it was kind of like my second home. Yeah, but it's kind of yeah, it's in the basement, it's in the cellar, so there's no daylight, and so you can kind of lose track of time and reality. But yeah, that's perfect workspace for to create music, I guess.
Did you rent out the space, or did you kind of like build it?
Yeah, no, I rented together with with two others, so with three of us, and we share kind of like a calendar, and we just check out when the other ones are sitting there. And one of them is also playing in my band, so that's convenient. And the other guy is a drummer who built most of the studio. So yeah, we just check in with each other, and yeah, it works pretty well.
How much of Big Dreaming Ants did you record there?
Well, I guess yeah. I think 80%. We only recorded the drums for a national song, and "I Want to Change." We recorded them at a different studio because we wanted to sound like I have a big sounding drum set. So it was a big studio with a large ceiling somewhere outside of Amsterdam, and then the strings were recorded at the place of the of Jonas, who played all the strings. Or I played some double bass, but he plays cello, violin, and viola. And then, oh yeah, I also went for some vibraphone to a friend of mine in his studio. But the rest was all, yeah, recorded at my place.
How freeing is it to record in your own space?
Yeah, it was a nice new experience because yeah, I just I started writing in that place, and then I simultaneously started recording. And at first I thought it was gonna be demo material, but then you get into it, and it turned became like pretty arranged stuff already. And yeah, so when I started working with the producer, we kept a lot of the demo material. Yeah, I guess it's really nice to have like all your stuff at one place and really have like a nice playground with your favorite gear. And yeah, for me it really worked out well for the writing as well, because yeah, I like to write and um, yeah, play the parts of different instruments right away, when it's in my head. So that's different when you're at home with just an acoustic guitar or something. So it was nice to have all the tools at hand.
Speaking of a playground, with this album, you've been experimenting with a lot of different types of instrumentation. What's kind of been your favorite new go-to toy that you never really played with before that you use on this album?
Mm, Good question. Well, I bought, before I started writing this record, I bought this old tape machine, tape echo machine, which is kind of broke actually. It's an Elk echo machine. So it's Italian made, from the 70s, I believe. But the tape cassette that you put on, they don't make them that the same way. So we kind of like we yeah, you use a tape, where you run the sound runs through the tape, but we make our own loops, and then we just use like something, yeah, to mechanically keep the tape at the at tension, but it gives a kind of glitchy sound. So I use that a lot on guitars, and also some percussion and some kalimba, and it gives this really eerie sound. But also just the like the noise of this tape machine is just so beautiful. So I put a lot of that stuff just all over the record, I guess. Yeah, so it was a nice tool. Yeah, that was new.
Is that how you did the vocal looping effect on No Room?
No, 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 no. That was just Ableton. No, that was without the without the tape machine. That was just
Okay.
Ableton. Yeah,
Because I was so curious of how you got that. It was so cool. I loved it. It
yeah.
sticks
It,
out.
it was
Yeah.
just we had this old organ. It's made by Philips, the old organ from the '60s, also in the studio, which also on the record a lot.
Wow.
And I was just playing the part, and I was singing along and telling not the producer Wannes, but Tim, my guitar player of my band, who co-produced that song. Like I would just want to do this part, over the guitar line. And he was like, oh, cool, maybe you should just also record the vocals. It was like, okay, cool. So we recorded the organ and then the vocal. Yeah, that's became one part, which was cool.
Okay. So you recently rescheduled your tour for February 2021.
Mm-hmm.
As COVID if the COVID numbers increase globally,
Mm-hmm.
do you have a contingency plan in place? Are you going to live stream these shows or what?
No, I guess we're probably gonna postpone it again. To be honest, yeah, it's I really feel we've done some live stream shows, some live stream festivals, which were pretty set up pretty good. But I think, yeah, for this tour, I would really love to be people there, so we were just going to postpone it if it's not possible to play for a live, for a live audience, and we'll probably come up with some other live stream stuff. But the tour is really going to be a real tour for a live audience. So if that's not going to happen now, we're going to let it happen another time.
I see a lot of artists using Twitch. Do you ever think about doing some live streaming on a more consistent basis?
Not yet. I feel like I've done some live streams with other partners, with other platforms, which is really nice. And we also did last week or 2 weeks we did a live stream for Worldwide FM, and we got this really cool stage design. So we did together with this pretty famous photographer from the Netherlands. So I think, yeah, we're just gonna take every possibility. We just take it with a new creative idea. I don't think we're gonna consistently use one channel to stream live. I think it's nice to just see what comes along, and then work it in a special way. But for me, live stream is still like, just for it's not my favorite thing to do, but it's nice to have like a different versions of it and create different vibe with, also different setups in the band, and some solo, some duo, and some full band. So just gonna keep it up that way.
Last time I saw you was at the Rockwood Music Hall, and you were
Mm-hmm.
by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
What does your touring band look like now as opposed to your 2018 tour?
So we've got four friends of mine on stage, a drummer, a bass player, and a key player who also plays trombone. And then we've got a guitarist who also plays samples, and then I'm playing guitar myself. So we're with five of us complete. Yeah.
So recently on Instagram, you asked everyone what their favorite vinyl record was.
Mm-hmm.
What is yours? Or a few?
Well, I guess Five Leaves Left from Nick Drake is one of my favorites. Also, Naturally by JJ Kill. But it's almost too old to spin. um, Also, really love the album Undercurrent by Bill Evans and Jim Hall. So yeah, a lot of more older stuff. And yeah, it's now my record, but it's actually my mom's. It's the live album of Bob Marley and the Wailers, which is also great. Yeah.
The new album is Big Dreaming Ants, available anywhere you get music, but get it on Bandcamp because the money goes to Nana directly. You're helping support artists directly. That's what we want. So Nana, thank you so much for coming on My Little Underground once again. And where can people follow you and all that stuff?
Yeah, thank you for having me again. People can follow me on Instagram, Adjoa Music, or Facebook. I guess those two are the best channels nowadays to follow me. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Nana. Have a good one.
Yeah, thank you, Peter.